Okay, now we're rolling. Okay, and the last one is hard labor jobs are a poor strategy for acquiring money, but they do garner respect. Self-made millionaires no. Self-made millionaires know getting rich has little to do with intelligence and everything to do with focus and persistence. And you know, just since moving at the beginning of the summer, there was a lady that I met at my daughter's cheer, and she is a self-made millionaire. It's almost like you can just see it when she walks in. She's just one of those people that you're like, wow, she does something successful. Like, I think she just like had this aura about her of confidence and success. And I made it my mission that I wanted to get to know her and like get to know her story and hear about it. And, you know, there is something to be said for that person that, you know, didn't necessarily have, you know, family money or anything given to them. She's not had an easy life. You know, she's gone through the effort in the trenches and all this stuff. And it's not that she has more gifts or ability than any other person, but she had focus and persistence towards what she wanted, and she still does, and she still pursues that, and you can just like feel that energy around her. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys this week is something that I did about 6 months ago. I'm thinking about 6 months ago. I actually went through and printed out me and my husband's bank statement over the last 12 months, and it came down to, you know, and really pulling apart, and we're going to do this in the next few weeks, but really pulling apart what you spend and where you spend, and, you know, look at your habits and things like that. But I actually decided, you know, at about this time, just after really uncovering my money story and getting clear on, you know, all of these details like you guys have throughout this week. And so I printed out that bank statement and actually edited out the date. I recreated a new date and I recreated a new amount in the exact statement, like overrolled it, and it's our bank, it's our banking information, and I have this like document where it's not just taking like goals or, you know, anything that I've set, dreams or anything like that, but I've like intentionally taking that document and changed it off of rewriting that, and then rewrote a lot of statements. These statements that you saw that were on the pink sheet of the workbook, where it was all those things that either you say or you've heard other people say your whole entire life, and rewrite who you are and what you're going to say moving forward. And for me, like, I think about my children a lot and thinking like, if they were doing this workbook, you know, 20 years from now, they're going to say all the things that I said on there. So I'm kind of recreating what I want their money story to be, but what I choose to say today. So for me, that's been an easy way to kind of assess, like, what are the things that I want to come out of my mouth, not that's too expensive. And I caught myself the other day, my daughter loves this bubble fruit smoothie at this place that it's like $9 for this thing, and I just think it's ridiculous. And while we were driving past it, she's like, "Can I have one today?" And I said, "No, those are so expensive." And I was like, "Oh, that's not something I say." Like, rewire, reprogram. So I just want you guys to have that awareness of like your past statements and then your new statements, because it's still going to come out of your mouth. It's going to trip you up, but at least you're going to be thinking like, what is it that I replaced saying expensive with? You know, and kind of reworking that. So I definitely want you guys to be interactive today and share, just to kind of give you some topics or topics or, you know, hints of where we want to go. I definitely want to stay in the zone of this program, this work, about your money story and things like that. But maybe you just like to share like something that came up, like that you didn't really realize is something that you say all the time. You know, I wish I had this, or, you know, maybe it was just a statement that came up, but just uncover part of your money story, discuss it, kind of put it out there, put how you maybe rewrote it, or maybe you need help with rewriting it, you know, as far as the speaking, all of that. So I'm going to get the chat box up here. I know some people have to jump off or, you know, they don't get to stay on the whole time because of something they have scheduled. So if you want to share first, knowing that you can't, will you put in the chat box, like, I'm not going to be available the whole time. Oh, okay. So I'm going to mute all, and then whoever wants to share first, then comment in the chat over here. And you guys have to share. You can't just be over there in the world of the hardest week in the program being quiet, right? Everyone has a smile on their face, so I guess they made it through it. Alive. Okay, 1 second. Why is it? We'll go to Shelly 1 second. All right, Shelly, go ahead.
Hi, how are you guys? Good. Oh, wait. Am I on mute too? Okay. No, I'm not on mute.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, got it. So one of the things I still find myself saying all the time, and I need to be very, very honest, I'm really helping support my team this last few days and have not completed the whole packet. But I still find, just from one of our coaching calls and from when you were talking about the things that you say, one of the things that I still find myself saying over and over and over again is, I need this, I need that, or like anytime money comes up or anytime anything comes up, I find myself saying the words I need, which are, Miss Natalie pointed out, helpless and kind of more victim or passive. And so I definitely, instead of using that's too expensive, or I don't ever say I can't afford that, except for in my own brain. Because I think we all have a certain amount of income that comes in, and it's just what we hear it all the time, and especially today in business, today, the 31st, when we're trying to close out to get that second person or help somebody become a senior brand partner. I'm hearing all kinds of, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. So what kind of things can we say to ourselves? Or what kind of dialogue can we change? I guess I'm having I want to make sure that my grandchildren and my children don't hear me say that as much as I've said it in the past.
Right. So I think a lot of it comes from in how rich people think. I think a lot of it comes in like the abundant mindset. Like the person who responds with the lack of will lack.
Right. Okay.
The person who has this affirmation, I have enough money for all of my desires. I have enough time to do the things that, matter to me the most. I'm amazing at prioritizing to where I feel the most accomplished with my day. All of those things like have to be practiced. And it has to come from a place of abundance. I mean, the whole mindset shift of the lack of, or I'll never have enough, or I'm not good enough, I'm not worth it. All to me shifts from the time when you wake up in the morning and you start your meditation and you set your intention for the day in a really, really good way.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of guided meditations that I think start out with a lot of.
I need a guided meditation. Okay.
I will have a couple that I think are really, really good, and I'll post the link on one of them. That after, I don't know how long it lasts, but I know that my coach who I'm working with listened to that every single morning for like a year.
Oh, okay.
To rewire her mind towards her money story and her, I'm never enough, I'm never going to live happy. Like, one of her things is that skinny people were rich and happy. And that was her. But like, it was ingrained in her mind. Right, like it has to do with skinny, and it was like, I think through meditation, I think is a lot of the way that you heal yourself and retrain your way of thinking. So,
and then when you find yourself in a situation like that, especially You don't want it, like when your daughter asked for the $9 slushie or whatever that was. I don't blame you. I would be like, no, you're not getting that because you're not Paris Hilton, basically. But what is it that we say besides what?
I just changed it. I would say you love that slushie at Racetrack. Like I didn't talk anything about that place.
Right.
Why did I say that? Why did I need to tell her that?
Right. So
I just replace it with something that makes sense to me in my mind.
Right. Yeah. Just so you really love that slushie, don't you?
I know you love this one just as much. How about we go here?
Yeah. Okay. Right. And then just know. And then when you hear others, and of course I know it's their journey and they're not there yet. When they're just still in that complete lack, complete non-abundance place. They are not in the money management makeover class.
Yeah. Like I said, they're not on the path.
They're not on the path. They don't have the ticket. They didn't get on the train. They're still sitting at the station. When you hear sorts of things like that, even with your team or your spouse or whatever, what's a good way to deflect that? Or to, besides, boy, I mean, I can't see myself saying, because I know my message is the most important one. But when I hear that from others, what's a good way to deflect it?
That's a great question. Okay. I'm living that, right? All these people around you, some that you even love so bad, like say it, and then you just want to start going at them. Like you
do. You're gonna be like,
tell you.
You need to take
saying that.
You need to take Natalie's money makeover class like now.
I'm just saying it is very, very much something that you're because of your clarity and your journey, you're gonna start noticing it more than ever.
Oh yeah.
And I have found that it doesn't matter if I try to explain to them anything when right now I just need to work on myself.
Right.
Like, I just need to, I really internalize it. I'm like, wow, they said that, and then I kind of just let it out of me because all I know is that I'm controlling me. It's kind of like, don't worry about anybody else's business, like mind your own business.
Right. Okay.
We've got so much to work on ourselves and our thinking and rewriting our money story. Don't let anybody's energy take you off that path. Like, yes, you're going to hear it. Yes, you're going to have more awareness, but then you just need to go, what is that showing me? And how can where am I doing it? And
because I really didn't realize how prevalent it was in my everyday from the people that, for either my children or
thoughts or things. And so those people, that is their reality. I'm not going to feel good enough or whatever, and then you're thinking, oh, well, I have some, you could tell them something back. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that your example of the way that you live your life is the best testimony.
Right.
And that people will become like you and want to be doing what you're doing by just your actions.
It feels like, and maybe this is just that mother guilt thing or that I'm Catholic guilt thing, but I feel like, oh my gosh, I mean, my ex used to be a lot more like that about lack all the time. So I guess I'm looking at my own children and thinking that maybe I must have said something. They've heard this their whole life, just like everybody else. I'm just wishing I had some really good things. Like definitely my example is going to be the most important thing. When I shared with them I started looking up after last week. I started looking up where I want to move and retire in California. And I started sharing with them these homes in Sausalito, California. And they were like, Mom, you don't need that. I just started hearing tons of lack from all of them, yeah, Mom, that's great, but you'll be so busy you won't even be there, or you'll be so busy we won't ever get to see you. And, just that kind of I'm like, but look, aren't you looking at you open the kitchen doors and there's the ocean, that I just said, I'm trying to figure out a way to, that's definitely not my most important thing, but just when we hear it's not even discouraging. It's
Don't let the opinions of average men sway you. Dream and he thinks you're crazy. Succeed, he thinks you're lucky. Acquire wealth, he thinks you're greedy. Pay no attention, he simply doesn't understand.
That's exactly right.
These quotes, I mean, that's why
that's exactly
so
right.
Like, you need to read and you need to apply. You need to read something and then know that is the message for me.
Right. Okay, can you repeat that again? Or just tell me who it was?
It's a quote by Robert Allen, and it's in the How Rich People Think. But it says, don't let the opinions of average men sway you. Dream, he thinks you're crazy. Succeed, he thinks you're lucky. Acquire wealth, he thinks you're greedy. Pay no attention, he simply doesn't understand.
That's exactly right. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I really believe that that's how you overcome it, by daily digging in. I mean, you know, a mentor of mine said you could read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, over and over for the rest of your life. That same book, never pick up another single title. And you could live an abundant, successful, amazing, you know, like everything is right there for you. And so, like, I really believe that maybe this book, even though it may not seem like the most powerful book to you, but these statements and these thoughts through it could be what pull you above, you know, people around you. And there are some times where I feel like I need to go like and meditate or just have a moment of quietness to myself sometimes when I am around people who their energy is not that of mine and my thinking. And I have to kind of like pull back and go like, okay, I can't let that affect me. I can't let that build inside me and want to go change them or anything like that. I have to just kind of like go, whew.
Right. So I've always wanted to respond and say something, I'm realizing. And I, especially when I hear my kids.
Don't respond to them.
Okay.
Let it flow out of you, but not necessarily in their direction.
Okay. Got it. Great packet. Great info.
I know that I thought everyone would be a little bit intimidated and almost kind of mad at me, but then when you really...
The only thing I'm not at all intimidated by, but Steve would be taking those black, printer cartridges down to the Costco to get those sun guns all filled back up again. So we can have our cute, darling 5,000 pounds of ink. But I get it because I get it. So I'm just going to buy printer cartridges. Awesome. They have inexpensive refills at Costco, by the way.
Yes.
Like $8.
I like the word luxury. That's a word that I've replaced with a lot of different things. Instead of me saying, instead of the word expensive, I say like luxury. Like I love this luxurious yoga studio that I'm going to. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to yoga there, but it's dang expensive. I don't know if I'm much longer.
Right.
You know, that's like something that I would have said, like, God, it's expensive, that place. You know? Like, it's luxurious and I'm worth it. You know, just, I don't know, whatever seems good to you. Like if you were to go back to your dream desire list and you were to talk about qualities and traits of what a day in that person's shoes was like, you wouldn't focus on lack.
Oh God, no. Right.
To talk about themselves.
Except for now I have a lack of avocados because Miss Natalie helped me decide that, no, seriously, that's also on the list today. We went through 10 avocados in like 3 or 4 days. You can actually crave avocados instead of just craving Reese's peanut butter eggs.
Who
knew? Sure. I had no idea. Anyway, so
I'm gross.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not focusing on chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Much, Kelly.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Michelle, are you going to share?
Yeah, I have questions.
Okay.
So I am definitely I've noticed that I use the lack words a lot with the kids, and that is concerning.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance? Well, part of it I think is intentional because I don't want them to be bratty.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance raising kids that are living in an abundant mind frame and not a spoiled, rotten mind frame? So that's where I'm struggling with trying to figure out how to reprogram myself and them so that.
The word that comes up for me whenever you say that is intentional. Okay. So a person, I mean, an abundant mindset isn't yes, they get everything that they want. But it's just a certain choice of actions. Like it's more intentional. Like it made something come up. So my daughter is in cheer. It's super expensive, and we dedicate a lot of time and effort to it. Well, she also wants to dance because my other one goes to dance, and so she wanted to go to dance. And instead of me saying like my what came first in my mind is there's no way we can even afford that. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm like that was human instinct in me. But my response to her was, if you decide to do that, there'll be a certain amount of work that you'll have to do around the house that I'll pay you for, and if you want to use that money to go to dance, then that will be your choice. And she decided yes, that's what she wants to do. And she asks me, what do I need to do? Or what are some of my jobs? And, a lot of the things that I tell her to do. Do you think that that's making her spoiled because I said, yes, do dance too? No.
Right. No. Mm-mm.
So I think it just has a lot to do with your intention, your words you use, and then like your expectations, and then following through with those things, and them understanding the value in things,
Yeah, it was really interesting this week because my son is 7, and like for Christmas, we're pretty intentional with not overindulging on gifts. Like we kind of try to follow the mind frame of you need something, you want something, you need, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were over at a friend's house who their kids, they have grandparents that tend to overindulge, which is great. But Aiden was like, Mom, he got all of the things that I asked for Christmas. And I'm like, well, isn't that great that he was, blessed to have that and whatnot. But I've noticed over the last couple of weeks that he's starting to like take things. He's like, I want it. And I'm like, well, we don't just take it because we want it. And so I realized like, oh my goodness, like I'm really putting kind of the wrong mind frame in this little guy's head. And so that's where as I've been going through the packet, I'm like, I've got to figure out how to retrain myself so that I can train him so that he's not feeling like everyone's getting everything else that he wants kind of thing. So that's been interesting that it's come up. His actions have come up as I've been going through this.
Right.
Trying to show him.
Why do you think he's doing that?
Oh, I know, because he hears Eric and I talk all the time about we can't afford that. Quit asking for that. Mommy's only got a certain budget. Don't ask me for things when we go in the store. Like I do it all the time. So they don't know any different. Like with the Disney thing, we made it a family thing. Like we as a family are going to make this happen. So what that means is, your portion of that is understanding that mommy's got to put in extra effort with work. So if I'm on the phone or if I'm at my computer, that's your time to find something else to do to give mom space to do that. But what I realized after the fact, as he's telling the lady at Target on Saturday, my mom finally saved up enough money and now we have enough that we can go to Disney. And I realized that their mind frame was not mom, was intentional about this, but we didn't have before and now we do. Mm-hmm. So trying to show them that like money doesn't grow on trees and to be appreciative, but to also not ruin them as they're 38 years old going through a packet going, my whole life could have been completely different had my mom did this packet when I was 7.
Well, first of all, your life is not ruined. Your life is amazing right now.
Right. No, it's great. Agreed.
So like, know that like that it's meant for you. Like where you're at right now is your journey, and love it. Love where you're at today, and love that you know that you can get better. Like, I mean, I think that your perspective on some of these things is like you're way too hard on yourself. Like that wasn't a bad thing that he said, my mom, we finally have enough. Like you did. Like you worked hard and you did it. Like I don't think that that's a bad statement.
So you don't think that that's like I heard it as in like a lack of. That's, I guess maybe that was just the way
I think it's like your overall energy towards that. Like, are you happy and proud of yourself of what you've accomplished? Does it feel good? Are you thinking about that? Are you focusing on that? Are you focusing on what it felt like to not, and like those feelings?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also too, I think I was trying to think like, some of the things that I do, like with the kids, like I actually do say yes more than I say no, but I do it like in a way that I've designed in my mind. Like, I know the kids love to go to the store and get something every time you're there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally, like, I say yes, but I have like I cruise the dollar aisle and you can pick one thing. Like I can spend $1, like for them to like have something and that make them happy and whatever. They don't understand value at this point. So nothing means more that it costs $20 than the thing that's $1.
Right.
We do like craft things a lot, and you can spend $4 on a craft thing and spend time and like do something with the kids. That means more than having the best toy. And so I compare, not that they say like so-and-so has this or why did they get this, but I talk about what we do have and what we do together. Like I don't talk about like, and if she says like, oh, I don't want to live, she said something the other day, I don't want to live on a hot tub. And I'm like, well, there's lots of other things that we like to do together, like this and this. So like just retraining focus from deflecting on the negative and talking about the positive. And then, you know, like I kind of just like pick the battle of like different things. Like I'm not saying I always say yes, and I don't like give my kids, and I'm not like the best, I'm not like hero parent either. Like do everything just like me. I've got it all figured out. But I do think that I'm trying to incorporate everything that I'm learning and everything that I'm growing and teach it to my children in that way. Like before Christmas, we had to give before we would ever get. Our elf brought the girls a letter, and it was what we are going to do and give to other people. And that was definitely their favorite part of the holidays. It was not getting, it was giving. Whether it was giving a gift to someone else or it was giving to the kids that they got to do, like it was all about that. So I think it's just, with him acting, I mean, and there's also just behavior things that people learn from other people and their actions, and you can't guard, like same thing. You can't change how somebody is if they've influenced. You can just be you, and then know that like our kids are always watching. So like just always be in a place where you're trying to be your best and influence, and then they're going to, follow along in a positive way too, I think.
So one positive thing that happened this week is I got my first Stitch Fix box, which I was excited about.
Yay!
And Eric and I like put on all the outfits, and I showed Eric, and he's like, well, are you going to keep it? And initially my mind was like, there's no way I could keep this box with us getting ready to go to Disney. So instead of saying, no, I can't afford it, I told myself, I'll keep the jeans and send everything else back because I didn't like it. Like instead of like trying to focus on like, I can't afford it because we're doing this or whatnot, I just tried to change my mind frame of, well, I like the stuff, but I'm not in love with it. And so I'll wait until I have something that I love.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that I mean, Stitch Fix is a great example, but like if you predetermine in your mind that you're going to keep one of your fix, Then when the box comes, you have to pick the thing you love the most. And you get that. You get to have that. So instead of like, I didn't like those or those didn't fit, don't even talk about the other ones.
Okay.
I would pick what I loved the most.
Okay.
Every statement that flows through you is like the most positive, like, and you're going to love that item, and you're not going to think about the ones that you're sending back.
Right.
Think about what you love.
Okay, good.
So that's a good example because it's like so concrete. And those of you who don't know what Stitch Fix is,
you need to.
You can check it out online. Google Stitch Fix. But I think that that's a great thing. Like I'm a bad decision maker. No. I can't believe I just said that. Decision making is hard for me. It always has been a struggle. My mom's on the line. Like I couldn't pick an ice cream flavor when I was a kid because I thought I would regret if I got the wrong one. Like, just it's really hard. So when I make decisions now, I just focus on the thing that's going to bring me the most joy or the very happiest. And I just go with that. And I don't think about the other one. And I have to really fight my nature to do that. So.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Who's next, you guys? Okay. Oh. All right, Mom, Gwen.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
Like when you use the example of, can you hear me? You can?
Yes.
Okay. You use the example of Tinley wanting to do dance. Say, for example, there truly wasn't the money in the budget to do dance. How would you handle that in a positive, affirming, goal-setting way?
I would just say that's a goal that we need to set and work towards that. Right now I had to make the choice between this and this, and you chose this. So maybe next that's an option, or like let's put it in the future. Like, on your dream goal list, you can't put everything in your 6 months desires. Like you just can't. Like there's going to be things that happen in 10 years, and that's not a bad thing. Like, I think that it's a great thing. So I think some things that aren't there, instead of talking about them, where you're at and why you can't today, talk about when. Like, determine, like, if you still want to in, 8 months when we make the decision to when this season ends or this one, and if that's still a desire for yours, we'll be able to switch those, or we'll be able to do that then, or whatever. And then make it fun. Make it like a countdown of like, oh my goodness, we're almost there, or working towards goals in like a really positive way.
And I just wanted to share with the group one of the things that when you were younger and it was like time to go school shopping, and you take your child and you go to the mall or wherever you go, and they want this and they want that. It was always something it was an experience that made me feel very bad, because I felt like I looked like a mean mom. No, you can't have that. No. And one thing, not through personal development, but luckily I just figured out was
no, because you're awesome and amazing, and we're then.
Well, I don't know why it happened, but I set a budget, and I would have Natalie make a list and really think about what things she really needed that could be multi-purpose. Whether it was a jean jacket that she could wear with lots of things, or was it this jacket that goes with one thing. But we kind of thought through that process early, and it made our shopping really a pleasant experience, I feel like, because it wasn't me being a bad guy. We had already set the parameters. So I use that example of like going to Disney World. You might have a certain budget that is allocated for the kids to get a souvenir, because they're going to gear it to set it up where they're dying for something at every corner. And it will make you feel really bad to go, the sky's not the limit. But if you intentionally set out on your trip with, you've got $10 discretional money to spend however you want, or 20, or whatever it is, or we're going to take a picture of things and use that picture as our memory and not clutter our house with all the trinket stuff that's irrelevant. I don't know. I just find that looking through this is helping me to feel more intentional. And I told Natalie this week, I feel like I'm flat on the floor with my upper limit smashing me right down to the ground. You start to learn, oh my gosh, I've done this to myself my whole life and had no clue.
Agree. I think exactly what you said too is intention. Like if you give yourself choices and you get to pick I ordered 3 swimsuits. I am picking the one I love the most to keep. Like, and I could keep them all. Like, did I have the money for the swimsuits? Yes. Did I, whatever. But I chose in my mind, I'm going to pick the one I love the most. And then that's going to make me happy. That's going to be the one I want to go and wear every time anyways. You know, like if I loved it more than the other. So I think it's about choices and setting your intention prior, like in all areas of life. Like I went to Payway the other day knowing I was going to get the chopped salad. When I walked in, yes, I still wanted something else, but I set the intention before I went, I was getting chopped salad. I was not getting Kung Pao chicken. Like, but I loved it. While I was eating there, I loved eating it and it was good and like it was intentional. So it's like that in pretty much any area that you could apply it to. Set an intention before so then you don't feel guilty or bad that you're reacting and it's not the best choice.
Well, and I am finding to use the word what brings me joy. You know, just like Michelle talking about the clothes. You know, what's the one item out of the 5 things that would bring you a lot of joy? We're in the process of building a house. So you look at it and it can be overwhelming, all the decisions and all the choices. And, you know, there is not unlimited money to do. It doesn't make any difference. Plus, that doesn't even feel good to me to be not thoughtful and intentional. So Dad and I have been trying to look at what are the choices we can bring that will bring us the most joy. For example, we're looking at a fire pit out in the yard and a fireplace over the tub. We might not ever even use the fire pit out in the yard. We're trying to look at, is that something that would bring us a lot of joy on a daily basis that would be very useful in our life? And that's what it's kind of that wording of really evaluating what things are important and which are not.
Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right. Oh, sorry.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
It's okay if you cry like a baby.
What?
I said, it's okay if you cry like a baby.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Maybe I don't know. It's Sunday. I always get weepy on Sunday. So I want to backtrack a second to Michelle too, because what your son said, I think was his way of saying he's proud of you. I think he's like, my mom did it. We're going to Disney World. My mom did it. So take it as a compliment. I really believe that. And then what Gwen just said about being intentional, which is funny because, and I'll get to this in a minute, but I get a weekly budget from my husband. And so yesterday I went to West Bottoms, which is like an antique shopping mecca. And I got this super cool, hang on, red lamp, right?
Yay!
So I'm so excited, but I had a budget. And I said I can spend $100. And I bought the lamp, I bought a birthday gift, and I bought a little table, and I spent $98. And I knew, I'm like, I only have $100, so I have to find it. So I was intentional about what I was going to do. And I like living on a cash weekly basis because it keeps me in control. So just maybe when you go to Disney World, you can give your kids $20 and they can decide how they want to spend it. $5 here, $10 there, or whatever. But I like being intentional. So what struck it to me the most was that when Shelley was talking about, you know, what do you say when people are like, oh yeah, like whatever, or maybe one day, or I hope. Well, it's ironic because before this session today, I asked my husband to sit down and go through our budget, like go through our whole expenses. And so we have 4 sheets of stuff we went through. We've done it before. We did Dave Ramsey several years ago. And it's scary. It's super scary because my husband does all the bills. I don't do the bills. I know what I get. I know what we have, but he pays the mortgage, the car payments, everything. And so for me to sit down and have it written out is so huge for me because I always think it's less than we have, you know, at the end of the month, or we have more than we do, and we don't. We have 2 kids in college. We've got a crap load of college debt. So after we sat down, I mean, we're in a good space, but when we sat down and figured it out, he gets a bonus next month. And he's like, what do you want to do with the bonus? And I'm like, well, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And he keeps talking about the college debt. And he keeps talking about, I hope. And I hope one day. And, you know, I hope. And so I just kind of even got mad at him. Like you were saying, like, no, there's no hoping anymore. There's not one day. I'm like, we're going to take that money that we owe and we're going to figure out how many months we're going to have to pay it. And we're going to put a deadline on it. And we're going to pay it off by this date. He was just looking at me like I was out of my mind. So I'm like, no, really? Like, that's why I'm doing this 50,000 page worksheet. Like, that's why we're doing it. And he's just looking at me like, okay. I mean, I think he's not sure what I'm doing. I mean, he's excited for me, but so I kept trying to make him understand, like, no, let's prioritize it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he was just looking at me funny, like, okay. And I said, there's no more hoping. There's no more one day. There's no more, like Shelley was saying, her kids were saying, oh, Mom, you don't need that. It's like, yeah, I want to be debt free from college loans. They're not my college loans. They're my kids' college loans. Like, I don't want to have to worry about day-to-day fun expenses because we're paying for college debt or whatever it is. So it's, I hate to use the word coincidence because that's not a real word, but I think ironic that everything that I'm happening right now is all just kind of falling into place.
Right.
Mentally, Greg and I sitting down, a bonus coming, like everything is for a purpose. And now it's how we're going to react to that. So that's my spiel.
Can I offer you one bit of encouragement of something that could change everything in this situation? So I encourage all of you guys to remove the word debt from your vocab and replace it with investment. You're investing into your kids' future. That's what you're doing. So don't put such a negative word. Hello? Can you hear me?
There you go. You're back.
I just think the word debt for a lot of people hurts. They don't like saying it. They don't like feeling it. They don't like paying it. But when you pay off your investments in your kids' future, that's going to feel good. And that's going to motivate you. That's going to inspire you. That's going to make you feel good about yourself, and just not saying the word debt and use investment. Yeah.
And we've taught our boys too. You know, when we did Dave Ramsey years ago, we said, don't ever get a credit card. If you can live without a credit card, do it. I mean, get it if you need to build your credit, but boys, live paycheck to paycheck if you have to, but don't extend yourself, because it's very hard to go backwards and to pay that debt, because it is a key word. It hurts. It makes you sick to your stomach. It causes many things, illness, physically, mentally. And so yeah, I like the word investment. Change that to, we're investing in our future by paying off the previous investments that we made.
Yes, love it. Okay. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing, Shelley. I'm proud of you.
I'm dying.
Sorry. I was reading.
We're very much alike. We're very much alike.
I have like blurred because I'm looking at somebody about to unmute him, and then I'm looking at this other word. I definitely know you. Sorry about that. Okay. Who's next, you guys? Okay. One sec. Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, guys. I was just going to share something that Natalie and I talked about during our one-to-one session. It was just something that she kind of brought to my attention on my journaling style, which I didn't even know I did. But she's like, the way I laid it out was really nice. She said that I kind of like first went into like all the junk, like all the negative stuff that was like frustrating or that I couldn't stand. And then from there, I went into like all the things that I wanted to work on in myself. And then I ended it with like my gratitudes. And so I didn't know I did it in that process. But what I realized afterward is that like, I just felt amazing when I was done. Like it was just like this weight lifted off my shoulders. Just kind of that process going through like all the negative stuff first and then ending with all the good stuff. So it's kind of like a healing process working through those books. And I felt like energized afterwards. So I kind of just wanted to share that little tip that I thought worked kind of nicely.
Yes, I begged her to share with you guys. She is one of the most amazing journalers of any human being I've ever known.
Well, thank you.
I was bawling so she emails me her work before our one-on-one sessions, and I was like bawling my eyes out reading her journaling. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like I am not a big writer, and I don't feel like I write really like these beautiful, well-rounded sentences. You know, I feel like I'm not that great. And so my journaling that I've done has been more like kind of like sporadic. Let me show y'all an example. This just shows you there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. But I wanted her to share that. But this is typically like what a part of my journal looks like. An inspiration and then like words everywhere. It's not like writing, "Dear Diary, today you wore a green shirt that was super bright." You know, it's more just like thoughts dumped out, you know, methodically on paper. So yeah, I'll have her post. Jenna, can you post a thing in your thing? It was basically like dump out all the negative, talk about what you want to work on, and then gratitude. Mm-hmm. And she was like types of people. She was thankful for things that she was going through. She was thankful, like, you know, mostly to God and allowing, different things like that. It wasn't just like one or two gratitudes. Like you really went through like really everything in your life and like all the things that you're thankful that you do have right now.
Yeah. And even a little bit more to add to that, after I wrote all that stuff down, I actually like read it all aloud to my husband too. And I feel like that felt like another like level of weight off my shoulders. For one, it was like bringing us closer together because he knew exactly what I was struggling with and like we could talk about it together. But it was just like letting it out in the open, and it was like, okay, it's not like deep down inside me anymore, just buried. It's like, okay, it's like really out there. And I'm just letting it go now. So it felt really good.
Do you feel like this week has been that it was easier for you to like stay uplifted and stay towards your positive thinking by kind of expressing all of that out of you?
Yeah. Like the money story, like the first week I felt that kind of weight lifted. And then the money story, again, it was like kind of the same process where I just felt like it was gross and it was a lot of gunk, and it felt good to like lay it all out there and kind of like let it go. And so, yeah, I felt like I could feel like full inside and hold it like longer this week, going from like workbook to workbook. So, yeah, it felt really good. And there's one other thing I wanted to add that Natalie taught me a couple weeks ago about, when people say negative things to you to bring you down. She gave me this little tidbit that has helped me, and I've been applying it at work a lot. When people bring you down like that, it has absolutely like nothing to do with you and everything to do with them, because it might be like what they're struggling with in their lives. So I've kept that perspective, and I feel like it's really helped me not like take it personally, but more of like, okay, like I'm doing amazing things with my life. I can't let this in. And it's everything that they're going through. So that is really helpful perspective too.
She had told me a story of a lady at work. She works at the Apple store. So, you know, it's this positive place. She loves what she does. And I can't remember, maybe you can tell the story better, but something about this lady was just miserable and unhappy and just angry. And what did she say when she walked off from you?
Yeah, I'm kind of newer at the store, and so I'm still learning a lot. And I was just really polite in the way, like, I can pull someone in if you have more questions, but she just kept like belittling me and making me feel stupid. And she's like, oh, I can tell you're new, it's obvious, and like just making me feel really bad. But I remember like what Natalie said, I'm like, you know what? No, like I'm doing everything I know how to do, and I'm gonna hold my posture and not let this ruin the rest of my day. It has nothing to do with me and everything to do with like her life situation. So I kept that mindset, and it has really helped me a lot.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that would help everyone hearing kind of like the whole story about the lady and like why that normally would have maybe made you like feel really bad and like question everything. And I'm like, I asked her, I'm like, all right, do you know, she was like one of the only people that Apple's ever hired in like this one interview. She like scored all this great, like she was like, she's the ideal perfect employee. Like, and she knows that. But yet this lady who's having something going on in her life that she needs to make, you know, other people's lives miserable is going to like take her off of that. No, thank you. Like we have the power, you know, over that. So, a lot of times I always say, is that person's face on your dream board? And if the answer is no, then like quit thinking about that. Quit thinking about them, quit thinking about what they said or anything. Like just focus on what matters to you. So thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah,
I know that
thanks.
helps everyone. Who's next, you guys? Okay, Priscilla, one sec. All right, go ahead, beautiful.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, Natalie, I just kind of, you know, I want to thank you personally for, you know, this program. It's really a luxury for me.
Yes.
This program is a luxury for me because, you know, it's been awesome to be able to just make myself have me time. Like right now, I'm so busy working 12-hour shifts, running a business that as I was kind of looking through, you know, the workbooks and whatnot, I realized that I don't even have me time. Like, where am I gonna? It's like there is no me, you know. And so that's kind of what I discovered. That you know, I'm definitely gonna work on it because if there's no me, then I'm just, you know, I feel like I'm not gonna grow. You know, I'm gonna be staying in the same, you know, level, and you know, it's just gonna be. I feel like I'm gonna be going around in circles because I'm not doing anything for myself to help me grow. So, you know, to be honest with you, and you know, I don't know about anybody else, but I am still. I didn't realize how much debris is over me. You know, to be honest with you, and so I am still dealing with week 1.
That's okay.
I looked at week 2 just because I don't feel like, you know, like I've been able to release a lot of week 1, and I just feel like I really have to do that in order for me to really, you know, give it 200% of my focus for week 2. I did kind of go over and kind of glance through it, and I see a lot of, I'm excited, you know, of what's going to come ahead, but I'm still trying to get organized. And I'm trying to get my office organized. I'm trying to find time. I'm trying to look for a balance. And I've looked and looked, and I've written and I just, it's difficult. So right now, the only time that I see for myself is I'm going to have to get up earlier, like at 5 in the morning to be able, you know, because my day starts real early, 7 a.m., you know, and it's all about kids, house, work, business, and just all through the evening. And so, you know, I'm really happy about that. I'm going to work on setting me time in order for me to, you know, do my personal development and get organized because there's no way around it.
Right.
there's just no way around it. And so
I'm proud of you and dedicating time for yourself. And this is not a race. It doesn't matter if the course takes you 3 extra weeks because your schedule or whatever. I want you to be live and present on the calls and listen to everything, because I think you'll learn and be inspired by all of these amazing women. And I think that there's so much power to that. I could bundle this workbook up into a self-study course that somebody could take a year to do. But the fact is that alone, you probably won't even get very far. If I emailed all 6 weeks to you guys the day that you enrolled, you would not even be where you're at right now. Just because there's something to be said for like the whole group and the energy. So, take your time, give the work the time that it deserves and needs. And I think that, when you do make yourself a priority, like you can't give your best if like you don't even have a tank that you're filling up like of your own. And so know that, love the time that you get to spend on it. I know for me, I do. I really love the time that I can work on myself. I know that I'm loving myself. I know that I am being, who I need to be and becoming better. Then that helps me serve everyone else in a greater, more, abundant way. I think one of the quotes that I shared said something to do with that. It says one of the quotes in how rich people think that I have written down is, commit to investing at least 1 hour per day studying subjects that will help you move closer towards your ultimate vision. And that has a lot to do with, where you're at right now. Like, you don't have the time, but you also don't not have the time.
Exactly. So I'm going to look for time, and with my schedule, I decided to get up earlier and invest in me.
Awesome.
Way my day will be more productive, more organized, to where I'll just kind of make it a part of my day. In other words,
Yes.
Make it my new way of living. Just getting. So I'm still trying to get organized and
that you're acting as if organized is like a present tense that's not ever going. Okay, there's not get organized. It's always getting organized. That's a process that never goes away. You're always striving and working at it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm struggling with, because I'll get organized with one, role that I play, and then I'm working so much in another area that it kind of like, I'm trying to find a balance.
I think it is balance. I think that prioritization goes from that thing that's most important and you get that under control, and then you go to the next thing and you circle back around when that's necessarily becoming the top priority, and then love that process.
Yes,
love that you do that. Don't feel bad about the one that you just let kind of don't think about it going down the drain or anything. It's just, that's not your focus. That's not your intention. You're clear on what it is that's most important to you at that moment, and then know that that's going to be ever changing, and love that.
Yes, exactly. But I've had a lot of progress. I'm getting organized in different areas, and I love my me time now.
Good.
I even have a little glass of wine, enjoying as I'm listening to all the ladies share their stories, because that's kind of helping me look at my situation and see how I can make mine better using their experiences and whatnot.
Love it.
So it's been a pleasure. Thank you
so much. Awesome. Who's next, you guys? Anyone? Okay. One sec. All right, go ahead.
Is it me, Catherine?
Yes, Catherine.
Okay, well, yes, this week, a lot of my answers were the same. I never did feel like I got taught anything positive about money. It was not intentional, positive, learning how to handle it. It was always a negative and never enough. And so I've always had that mindset. And then in my mind, I thought, that's not going to happen to me. You know how you make a judgment and then it kind of turns around and it does happen to you.
Mhm.
But I said, because, you know, I came from a blue collar family. I thought, okay, the way to fix this is I am going to go to college. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And I worked many jobs paying my way through, because in our family, if you needed more money, you just worked more hours and you got more jobs. That's all I ever knew. And so I did. Sometimes I'd be working like 4 jobs at a time, working my way through nursing school. And I just thought, I'm going to have a career, I'll make more money. But then when I did, I still spent it all. So I've always been very frivolous. And if I have it, I spend it on fun and on other people. And I've always, now this is, I'm not saying this anymore. One of my affirmations that I've been saying even before I started this is that I'm an expert at financial things and I'm an expert at budgeting. And doesn't match my reality yet, but I'm trying to speak that into my life. And so, you know, the story's pretty negative, but I have been trying to, for a long time, figure out how to do this. And so that's why I was really glad when the class came up. And just it seems like a lot of self-sabotage where I don't follow a budget, or if I have a budget, I don't even know what it is. Or, you know, I don't buy extravagant clothes and things. It's just, oh, this kid needs this, I'm going to the grocery store. Or if I'm out, I have 5 kids texting me the things they need, and then instead of pre-planning. And I've gone through seasons because I'm really good at pre-planning. I have a pre-printed grocery list. But then just lately, I've been in a season of, seems to be more chaotic ever since I had a car wreck back in September. Then I couldn't function, and then I homeschool. And so I never quite got, when do we do math? When do we do spelling? I never got it all organized before I got kind of sidelined with that wreck. And then a lot of drive time. So I know this wasn't part of the homework, but I felt like this really helped me. I've got to pinpoint where I'm wasting time, which makes me waste resources, which makes me get real tired. And then you spend more money because you don't feel like cooking or just whatever. So it kind of went together for me. And I kind of like what the lady was just sharing, Priscilla, I think was, I went through and made a spreadsheet of my master schedule. And I do get up very early and I read the Bible, but then I'm always trying to cram too much stuff into too little time and then run into the next thing and just getting myself all exhausted. And so I planned it out, and I highlighted in green when I'm actually driving. And then I do a lot of driving, even though I homeschool my kids I outsource most of it. So I'm taking them a lot of different places. So I decided I'm going to be very intentional about, okay, during this drive, I have an hour, I can listen to this. I can do the Audible book. So I'm just really trying to not just think, okay, I'm going to listen to an Audible book. I know when I drive here, every time this week, I'm going to listen to this call. When I drive here, I'm going to do this. So I'm really trying to get that planned out a little bit more. And then also that Zone of Genius, the Big Leap book, I'm listening to that again a second time. And I love it. I can listen to it a little faster because then I can like speed listen. So I've figured out, you know how they say in your zone of incompetence, just don't do that or pay someone to do it. And so I love that I'm in a little a mastermind group. I just started one last week on a Zoom mastermind group with some other people. And someone said, well, why don't you pay someone to do housework or laundry or things I could never quite catch up with? I said, I can't afford that. So, you know, I said the wrong thing. And she said, I bet you could get some 17-year-old homeschool girl to do it a lot cheaper than you think. And then I remembered me and my daughter, who's almost 15, we talked about that exact same thing a few months ago, but I never did figure out what I needed her to do and how much I would pay her. We all forgot about it. So I figured I'm outsourcing that, and I'm going to pay my daughter. And she doesn't work, you know, she won't charge very much because I'm not going to pay very much, but she's happy with the amount I chose. And then I already outsource a lot of my chauffeuring with my 17-year-old. I pay for his gas, and if his car needs to be fixed or anything, I'll pay all that if he chauffeurs my other son to different places. So I don't know, I'm just trying to get organized like that.
How does that feel? How does it feel, the outsourcing those things that you got done? Like what's your thoughts?
Well, I have it feels really good that I have a start, that I'm getting a handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually done that for my daughter Sophia yet. I just realized that on Friday morning. Someone said that, and I was like, it was almost like light bulb moment. I was thinking this 4 months ago, and why did I forget?
Right.
So I just completely forgot that. So it feels really good. And then I always had Isaac helping me drive my younger son Gunnar around because he does competitive soccer. And then I do things for myself. I do Bible study and different things for myself. And so it's just I always seem to need to be more than one place at one time, and my husband's out of town most usually. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to be more intentional about saying, okay, every week you're going to do this drop off and pick up, and then I'll pay him for that too. So it feels really good that I'm getting it together and realizing that, you know,
intentional
at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And then I did that you know how last week, or even actually it was before we started this class, you did a webinar on that KonMari, I don't know how you say it.
Uh-huh.
So even last week, I wanted to beat myself up because I spent a lot of time doing that to my entire master closet instead of doing my homework. But that was really freeing, and I've kept it exactly that way for a week, which is a big victory. And then to top it off, I was listening to The Big Leap on Audible while I was doing it. So I was trying to do more than one thing at a time. And I don't think that's multitasking in a bad way. I was just listening to something while I was doing it that was needed to be done. So I don't know. I feel like some of these things I'm doing aren't just in the workbook, but they're overflowing to this part of my life.
Uh-huh.
Is that normal? Is that what happens?
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of the makeover.
Okay. I still definitely don't have the money thing down. And so I know you said we're getting into the nuts and bolts of that, because I really have a lot of issues and fears with that. But I have, even more affirmations written down that I've been saying. So.
Good. Awesome. I think that's fantastic.
Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Or
you're a master. What did you say your affirmation was? You're good at all things financial.
I said I'm a master at budget, following a budget, and all things financial is what I'm saying. But I have more of them, but I was saying that one. But now I guess what I've gotten from this week, we have those specific, like I came up with 5 more affirmations that are financial exactly. And I thought, well, I'll add them to my note card of things I say every day. They're just more specific to finances. And then I tell myself I'm a master at sticking to my daily plan and my schedule. So like I said, not all of them match my reality, but that's the whole deal with affirmations. I'm pulling myself into that, I guess.
Yeah, believing it. One thing that you could do, I know that we talked about a guided meditation, but since you're to the point of really creating these affirmations yourself, if you'll play music like in the background on your computer, and you'll read these statements out loud, you can create like an audio or a video even of like you saying your affirmations. And then whenever in the morning when you start your day and you're doing meditations, you're actually hearing your voice say those things without even you necessarily having to think about it. And you can just focus on blank space, and then you're going to be hearing these, spoken into you.
With my own voice. Okay.
Yes, your own voice.
That's awesome. Okay, I'll figure out how to do that. Well, okay, so I guess I have one more question about the journaling and the guided meditation. And I already have to get up at 5:30 just to get my Bible study and then fitness stuff in before I have to leave the house to do the different things we do. But I guess, do I do the guided meditation on top of that, or it's just 5 minutes maybe?
It's 5 minutes. I mean,
or is it 5 minutes affirmations, or do I need to do a different thing, like sit there and say that? Like I put that thing as a screensaver on my phone so I can do it in the morning, and then I look at it all throughout the day. But is there something else I'm missing? Do I need to have another time set aside?
So here's what I would say. Don't overthink it or stress yourself about what this is. It's no like black and white. It's not like, okay, first you're going to wake up. You're going to say this, and this is going to make you the most successful if you do A, B, C, D in this order. Meditation can be so many different things. Everyone practices differently. Everyone feels different. In the book, The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod talks about him meditating 3 times a day. Tony Robbins will talk about meditating morning, midday, and night. So there's lots of people that believe that 5 minutes 3 times a day equals total 15 minutes is great. So there's a lot of recommendations. You need to find what's working for you. And people say, well, how can I find the time to be reading my Bible, reading these books, doing all this work, running blah, blah, whatever. It's like, okay, the meditation is the key to holding all this together, because it's the time where you really just bring in, you take everything out of your head, all that you have going on, and you decompress, you let everything out. For me, like the most comfortable thing when I started meditation was just to start out with like the sound of like water or whatever, and I would like focus on like a movement, because my brain is like on a million things. Like I couldn't even just stop and not think about anything. So one of the top tips that I had read or watched on like a YouTube video was a girl saying that if you focus on looking at the back of your eyelids and following something that's moving. So I would listen to this music that had like a water noise, and I would just focus like I was the water and like I was moving, and I could meditate for like a few minutes without thinking about something else.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a lot of different things, but just start doing something, and then be inspired by like maybe what somebody else is doing or whatever. That's what's kind of cool about a group is, everybody might have something new or different, or, find what works for you.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Sometimes too, like whenever I get really, really frustrated, like I'm normal, just like anybody, something can happen in the middle of the day where I about lose it. And I'll instead like be mad for an hour and wanting to call my friend and tell him about it, or call my mom and complain about it. I just am like, I'm just going to go meditate. Like I'll just walk away from whatever it is. I'll quit thinking about that, and I'll just like go into blank space. And then it literally feels so much better. Like it's lifted and it's gone.
Okay.
So I am a person who, when I get frustrated, will repeat the situation to like multiple different people, my husband, my mom, this and that. And when I look at that doesn't serve me in growing anywhere. Like it didn't matter that I spent all that time. It didn't make me feel better. It almost just actually spurred it to be worse.
Or I play it over in my head a lot, not so much tell everyone. I just read it in my head. I should have said this, and I can't believe they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Non-stop. And so I guess I could stop, meditate on. I guess the point is you meditate you try to just make your mind quiet, because that's almost so foreign to me. I can't hardly.
I know it is. It's called a female brain. Like does not ever work. And I mean, everyone's the same. We all have very different personalities, but the one thing we all have in common is that our brain has a really hard time shutting off.
Yeah.
Like, and going on coast. And so practicing like years and years of meditation to like really like to create the power of like a sound mind for just a few minutes a day.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. Who else, you guys? I'm a genius with money. I have great wisdom with my finances. Amen to you, sister. So true. Let me make sure I can see everyone. Anyone else? Cassie? One sec. Oh, is it your phone? Is it 425? Oh, are you there?
No. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So I felt kind of strange this week because I actually flew through the workbook in about an hour and a half. But I realized by the end of it, I was so angry. I wanted to call my mom and just yell at her because there are so many things that I wrote down that I believe about money, that I believe about myself. And there was one point, it was like, where does this come from? And I kept writing my mom. So like you just said, instead of calling her and like venting to her about all of this stuff, I just took an extra piece of paper. I wrote everything down that was coming into my mind, and then I just ripped it up. And it just felt so good because then yesterday I spent the day with her, and my mom she loves me, of course. She's not like a terrible person. She's just in a really negative place. And I had this beanie on, and she was like, is that new? And I said, yes. And she was like, you know, you can't afford to just go buy frivolous stuff like that. And so I was like, yes, I can, because I control my finances. And there were just so many things from this week that I was able to take and turn that into a positive conversation with her. And by the end of it, she was laughing, and it wasn't about money, because I feel like a lot of things in our family turn back to finances. And I think you wrote it down in your stories, which I felt like you had a camera on me and you were reading my stories as well. But there's one thing that she's always just said to me: why can't you appreciate and be grateful for what you do have? Why do you always have to just want more? And that's something that I struggled with, because I don't want to be ungrateful and feel like I constantly need more. And I think, Michelle, just like you were saying with your kids, like, you want them to be grateful for what they have, but you also know that there's more for your family and for your future. And that was something I really have struggled with, that not being deserving of it. And I think getting through the end of this, I realized I am completely deserving, and the people that I love are too. It's just hard. Like you said, you wake up every day and there's stuff that just hits you in the face. But I realized I'm so affected by it because I allow myself to be, and just kind of taking those affirmations and flipping it around has been super helpful.
I love everything that you said. That is really, really cool. And I think it's probably everybody's, like, you do kind of get angry. And it's like our natural instinct to blame, like, look what you did to me, you know, instead of like, look at what I'm doing, because you're living your own story and you're influencing others around you. And so you can just look at, wow, I didn't realize that being said to me, like, I can't remember now if I put this in the story or not, but, you know, I had a period in my life where I've always felt like I could accomplish anything that I set my mind to, like, and that came from my parents. Like, we really did believe that I could do or be anything, and I believed it too, but I couldn't figure out for why the longest time I couldn't break past this certain, like, barrier or this limit, whatever. And doing this work makes me so vividly aware of why I couldn't, because my whole life I've told myself, if you can make $100,000 a year as a woman, you are successful and you don't need a man. Like, you can live the life that you want to live if you have that. So multiple times, now 3 different times in my life, I've been able to get to that point. It doesn't matter what I choose to do, I can get to that point. But it's like, I can't understand why it couldn't go past that till I understood that was the log, the lid. Napoleon Hill talks about it in the book. Like, that's all I ever thought about being. My chemistry teacher told me that you can make $100,000 being a nuclear med tech. And I was like, great, I'll go do that then, because that's how much money I want to make. Like, as a junior in high school, you know? I didn't think about the lab coat or never speaking to people or anything like that. It was just all about her telling me that was that income, that was part of, like, this money story that I had created. So when you're aware of these things, you're able to just basically take a brick and smash through them, just knowing what they are. And then knowing why, like, why did I think that? Like, because I just knew that my dad would be proud of a daughter that made that much or whatever. I mean, there was no real reason why it was that, except that I had just chose to focus on that. And that now I can choose to focus on anything and create any desires or determine anything, and you're able to move in that direction. Just like I moved into the direction of that intention I had set multiple times. It was a point of focus, but I determined that. No one really did. My dad never actually said those words. I created them in my mind. And you can apply that to any different thing. You can reset your focus of all of these things that you pulled out of your story and everything, because you'll find it's a pattern. You know, I looked back whenever you go to the parents and then you go to the grandparents, like, grandparents' stories molded my parents' stories to be exactly what they were. And then my parents' story created mine exactly where it is today. But I have the choice to move forward in a different way. I mean, tomorrow is yet to be determined, so you can create it. Which I personally think that at the end of this week's course, which I don't know if everyone's completely through, but if you've noticed, I know Cassie is and I know Jenna is, and they both are in a really good place. They feel amazing. They feel freed, and they are excited about the future. And I mean, that's just like a really, really cool thing. So I just wanted to point that out, and inspire everyone to get. I was very good. Oh yeah, she did. She told me that you're not just going to do hair, are you? And I love those people that really light my fire, because it makes me like a high achiever. Not because I want to rub it in their face, but I thought about multiple times taking my, tax information at the end of the year to show that lady that I just did hair and that I was very successful. Like, I didn't ever do it. I don't have like this vengeance spirit to actually like fulfill these things that I think about, but I did. I thought about it so much, like just doing hair, she's not. Mrs. Story is not on my vision board. What do you know? So like, it's crazy. Like, so you can use some of these things in your story to like prove it. When I had started going through, I'm going to just share this really quickly before we wrap up. But when I was working with my coach and really digging into my money story, it was this process. And I decided to meet with a financial advisor about a week after I had completed, this uncovering of my own. And I was really looking forward to it. Normally it would have made me like nervous and kind of feel like a mess, because I don't like people asking me questions of things that I don't know about. And I'm not really aware of what you talk about when you meet with a financial advisor, And so we met with them, and it was like this really great meeting, and I learned lots about, our goals financially and moving forward, and dreams that I had, and really how to implement them, and knowing how much money I needed to save each month now for my kids' college education coming forward. And I was able to find out this exact dollar amount of how much I needed to be saving and investing to reach the like retirement goals and things that I had set at the age that I wanted to. And I called my dad that night, and I started telling him all about it, super excited. And he's like, whoa, that would be nice. And like totally goes back into this. Like, I'm like, I wanted to be like, Dad, I'm going to open up my workbook and tell you how much this thinking of yours jacked me up, like, because he was going, well, that'd be great in the perfect world, but be realistic. Like, you're not going to do that. That's what he said. And I was like, actually, I am going to do it, but I thought it was interesting how, just like you were meeting with your mom, like these people speak to you is like, they're going to still say those same things, but you have the choice to react to it differently, and it be empowering that you're like, yes, I actually do have the money to buy this beanie on my head. Yes, I do. Thank you for your, for your love, trying to help me out, which I think is really, really awesome. Does anybody else want to share before we jump off? I didn't want to cut anyone off. Somebody asked about the reading list. I want to know some feedback from you. Obviously, when I designed this program, I had you in mind, the person that's going to be the student, the person that's going to be learning and going through the work. And I know that everybody has a life and a lot of other demands. And so I want to know from you guys on the reading. I had the reading list as a book a week, but I also don't want to just overload you and you feel like you can't get everything done. So I want to know either in the chat or waving at me, if you're caught up on reading, do you have the 2 books read? No, you haven't. I've started one, or I'm halfway through this one. I want to know feedback from you guys. I decided that, everybody.
I will be done reading it by Wednesday.
Okay.
I did this last week, the reading first, and I finished the workbook. This week I did it the other way around, so I'm not quite done with that book, but I'm finished with the workbook.
Okay.
It's like being pushed because I'm trying to get the most value out of this course. So I do like that. Okay. But it will be easier for me if the books are on the Audible thing, because then I can listen to them during my drive. But
for sure.
But I was putting out a PDF. Thank you, whoever did that.
Do what?
Somebody put a free PDF of the book that we're reading now, and so I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yes. Also, too, you can find on YouTube. There's a recording of How Rich People Think that you can find on YouTube. That's what I ended up listening.
Okay.
There's only a couple of books that I've read this whole year that aren't on Audible. I'm a big Audible fan. Also, too, somebody had talked about listening to it and speaking it up and things like that. What I challenge myself to do is read the book first when I have a pen and paper in hand. When the first time I go through a new book and I'm just like taking notes and brain dumping as I'm listening to it. Then I do re-listen to books, and that's when I'm cleaning, bathing, doing anything else. I'm re-listening to the book, but I do challenge myself to the first time. There's always things that I would miss in a book if I wasn't sitting down writing as I was listening to it. So that's helped me a lot of getting the most out of the information and then re-listening to it over and over again.
I personally like having the books every week. I have not been a good reader with my self-development. So this is actually creating some really good habits for me. So
it seems like from everybody right now that we can stay on track. Like I just didn't want somebody to be like massively like behind and then it's like
dreaded
snowballing or anything.
Is the new book short?
You know where the spaghetti is?
The one for this week, you
Spaghetti
mean?
they got
Not
out
necessarily short. I mean, none of the books are like short. I don't know what would determine if it's short or not, but it's not like, 5 length.
Page-wise, when there were the same amount of pages, it felt like, but there weren't as much words on the page, if that makes any sense. So I felt like it read faster, or it's reading faster, but there's more thought process in terms of how to apply what you just read there. If that makes any sense.
I forgot that I saw the PDF. My printer is not working right, and I forgot all about that. So I ordered it, and I don't have it yet, and I couldn't find it audio. Or
you can save the PDF to the iBooks, and that's
what I did too.
Oh, you can save it to the iBooks,
right? I'm reading it on my iPad and my phone wherever I am.
Oh, awesome!
You can send it back and then just download it.
Do you have the Do you have that one printer cartridge, Steve?
Do I what?
She's talking to somebody else. Sorry.
Now, do we know the book list in advance, or do you just
I'll post it right tonight. I am like toying. My amazing decision making skills have left me trying to find my favorite one. I'm deciding between two, but just because I also wanted to get to know you guys and hear your stories and hear where you're at to make the best recommendation too. Like I didn't just want to say like, here's the program, exactly how it's going to be. Like I really wanted it to kind of be interactive and feel through the program. So.
Well, I would really love all of your recommendations because I feel like if I never read another book besides The Big Leap, my life is
The Big Leap is my favorite book ever and always will be. And I feel like anybody that could just read that over and over again is fine. But I mean, my mom laughs at me. She's like, you say that about every book you're reading. I'm like, I know, I love growing and learning. I mean, I do, but I would say Big Leap is by far my favorite. We're not going to there's a book that's not going to be in the program, and it's Think and Grow Rich for Women. And Napoleon Hill's granddaughter has been a part of the Napoleon Hill Success Foundation for a really long time. She's lived out the principles for a really long time. And for some reason, even every successful person says read Think and Grow Rich and read it over and over again. But it was like a really difficult book for me. Like the beginning of it, I really like, but couldn't. I don't know. It just was difficult. Think and Grow Rich for Women, I feel like I'm sitting in front of her and she wrote this book for me. Like she is talking to me. Like I'm just amazed by it. So I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I think that all of you guys should read it. But I don't want you to pick it up until after the program's over. So
Thanks.
and the stories in it are just mind-blowing. She just has done so much research in putting these amazing stories and details into it that, like, that's been life-changing for me, hearing these stories of women. So. All right, you guys. Well, I think that's everyone, right? Who wants to share? Didn't want to leave anybody out, but everyone's worried about the printing of my magnificent work. Sorry, you guys. I want to just say thank you guys for joining on the call and just opening up and being vulnerable. I know for me, I've gotten so much out of hearing and working with you guys, and I know that all of the ladies have too. And so it's not, it's not sometimes the easiest thing to just, open and share. And so I just want to say thank you to you all who did, because I think that other women grow by hearing other people's experiences and stories in a huge way. So I definitely appreciate that. And next week, I'm actually going to be doing our call from Mexico. And I'm going for my 30th birthday, and I didn't want to miss the week. So hopefully all the technical things go well, and we have, great Wi-Fi and everything's super smooth. But I just want to let you guys know ahead of time in advance that I'll be doing it from there. And hopefully, yes, I will. Somebody said, oh, you're going to be like showing off. I'm like, no, that's been on my dream board for a long time. And that is on my dream board, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it, okay? So I'm really excited. Like, I've worked really hard to be able to go and do this and enjoy it. And so I do that with no shame whatsoever. If anything, just let it inspire you. So anyways, hope you guys have a terrific week. Look for the new workbook on Wednesday. I will post the other books before tonight. I'll just make a decision because I'm a great decision maker. And I will see you guys on the call next Sunday. Lots of love.
Thanks, Natalie.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Have a fun trip.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.